I don't even want to reach my seatbelt.
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
How's it going, officer? So we both got we've got YouTube channels.
So are you telling me I'm detained?
You're not gonna give me your ID, right?
Are you telling me I'm detained,
You're not
officer?
gonna give me your ID?
You have to suspect me of committing an actual crime in order to identify.
In this eye-opening video, we're diving about times when brave veterans confronted the police. Imagine this, a guy in Houston recording a police car, and things get intense. The cop wants the camera off, sparking a big clash over rights. But that's not all. There's more to come. We'll show you incredible stories of veterans standing up to authority. It's a roller coaster of events you won't want to miss. So let's dive in. In Houston, a guy films a police car when a cop shows up, being unpleasant from the start, demanding the camera away. Arguments escalate over rights, and the man's bravery surprises the cop. He's asked if he's a veteran, leading to a heated exchange. Backup is called, tensions rise, and the camera is grabbed.
I don't know, you're coming towards me right now. I'm not feeling
because
safe.
I'm asking you a question.
Right, and I'm just recording it.
Another incident unfolds on a property where a cop questions a man about a car. Disputes arise, and the man stands his ground, stating his rights. A knowledgeable veteran faces off with officers, demanding his due respect.
Okay, so explain to me how, with that law, I have to ID. Explain to me.
A traffic stop turns chaotic when a cop hits a car. The occupants demand damage inspection, while the cop insists on finishing the stop. Tempers flare, but the situation is diffused. Meanwhile, a woman records her encounter with a cop after a minor accident. The cop disputes her right to record and detains a military veteran, leading to a tense confrontation. Magnet fishing takes a surprising turn when a cop arrives. Filming for a YouTube channel sparks a debate over laws, and the cop walks away. Another blind veteran confronts a cop, highlighting the need for identification. An intense disagreement unfolds, showcasing the blind veteran's knowledge and the cop's reluctance. In a medical facility, a man records interactions with administrators and cops, concerned about his rights. Despite explaining the situation, he's arrested, facing injuries and charges. Walking down the street, a legally blind veteran is stopped by a cop. Disputes arise over identification and suspicion. The veteran stands up for his rights, revealing his military background and calling for a supervisor.
Committing a crime or about to do a crime. Sir, and her suspicion was...
A Navy veteran encounters a cop over a traffic stop. Disputes over registration lead to accusations of harassment. The veteran stands his ground, highlighting his respect for the law and his military service. In these gripping stories, military veterans challenge authority, demand respect, and uphold their rights. Tensions rise, tempers flare, and moments of triumph emerge as these brave individuals stand up against questionable actions. Tune in for a captivating look at the clashes between veterans and the police. Let's chat about the military and the cops, two important groups that keep us safe. People sometimes wonder who has more power, but it's not that simple. They have different jobs, and their power depends on what they're dealing with. First, let's talk about the military. These are the brave folks who protect our whole country. They're like the defenders of our nation. They have big tools like tanks and planes to handle serious situations. When there's a big problem that could affect the entire country, like bad guys from far away, the military steps in. On the other side, we have the cops. They're like the local heroes. They watch over our neighborhoods and towns. Cops help with everyday stuff, like stopping cars at stop signs and helping lost pets find their way home. They're there to keep things peaceful and make sure people follow the rules. Now, when it comes to power, it's not about who's stronger. It's about different kinds of power for different situations. The military has the power to handle huge challenges that might threaten our whole nation. They're like a shield that keeps danger away from everyone. Cops have a different kind of power. They make sure our daily lives go smoothly. They're like the friendly helpers who keep things in order. They have the power to talk to people, solve problems, and keep our neighborhoods safe. So it's not about who has more power overall. It's about having the right power for the right job. The military and the cops work together to keep us safe in different ways. They both play important roles, and we're lucky to have them looking out for us. Remember, it's not a competition about who has more power. It's about teamwork and making sure everyone is safe and protected. Both the military and the cops are here for us, and that's what matters most. Once upon a time, in a bustling town, there were two kinds of heroes, the brave police officers and the valiant military veterans. Each had their own unique way of protecting and serving, and their stories were worth knowing. In the heart of the town, police officers like Officer Alex were always on the lookout. Officer Alex was like a friendly guardian, patrolling the streets, helping kids cross the road, and making sure everyone followed the rules. He was the one people turned to when there was trouble, like a superhero right in their midst. On the other hand, there were military veterans like Sergeant Davis, who had served in the armed forces. He wasn't just a hero of the town. He was a hero of the entire nation. Sergeant Davis had learned to use powerful tools like tanks and helicopters to protect the country from big threats, like villains from far away. Officer Alex had gone to a special school to learn how to handle tricky situations. He wore a crisp uniform with a shiny badge that showed he was a real police officer. His uniform was his armor, a symbol of his dedication to keeping the town safe. Sergeant Davis had gone through intense training to become a strong and skilled protector. He wore a uniform too, one that was a bit different. His uniform told everyone that he was a warrior who stood ready to defend the nation from any danger that might come its way. Officer Alex's work was right where the people lived. He was a familiar face, always around to lend a helping hand. From guiding lost pets back to their homes to helping old Mrs. Thompson with her groceries, Officer Alex was a pillar of the community. Sergeant Davis, on the other hand, might find himself in far-off lands. He could be stationed on a base or sent to places people only read about on maps. His duty took him to different corners of the world, making sure everyone could sleep soundly, knowing they were safe. Officer Alex was the go-to hero when it came to everyday matters. He listened to people's worries, solved problems, and kept the town running smoothly. His presence brought comfort to the community, and his dedication was unwavering. Meanwhile, Sergeant Davis had a different kind of battle. He might be deployed during natural disasters, lending a hand when the going got tough. Other times, he stood strong against threats that aimed to harm the entire country. His bravery and commitment were a shield for the nation. And so, the tale of these two heroes unfolded. Officer Alex, the local protector, and Sergeant Davis, the guardian of the nation. Each had a role to play, a duty to uphold, and a heart full of courage. While their paths were different, their purpose was the same, to keep us safe and remind us that heroes come in many forms. Whether patrolling the streets or defending the borders, these heroes showed us that true bravery knows no bounds. And so, we come to the end of these amazing stories, stories that show us how brave veterans face tough situations with courage. Through these stories, we saw times when veterans stood up to authority and showed us the importance of believing in what's right. Think about Officer Alex, the local hero, and Sergeant Davis, the national hero. They might have different jobs, but both are brave in their own way. Officer Alex helps keep our neighborhood safe by watching over us, like a guardian, and Sergeant Davis protects our whole country by being ready to face big challenges like a shield. Even though they have different jobs and wear different clothes, both heroes are here to keep us safe. Officer Alex listens to people's problems and helps solve them. He's like a friendly helper we can always count on. Sergeant Davis, on the other hand, can be sent far away to protect our country from danger. He's like a strong protector, making sure we're safe. Officer Alex makes our town a better place by being there for us. He helps us with everyday things and makes sure everyone is okay. His kindness and caring make our neighborhood a happy place. Sergeant Davis has a bigger job. He might travel to different places to protect our country. He's like a brave defender, standing up against any danger that comes our way. His courage and strength keep our nation safe. In these stories, we saw how veterans stood up for what's right. They didn't give in, even when things got tough. They showed us that being brave means standing up no matter what. Whether it's a small situation or a big challenge, these heroes teach us to be strong and stand our ground. As we say goodbye to these amazing stories, let's remember that heroes come in many forms. They have different jobs, but they all share a strong heart. Just like Officer Alex and Sergeant Davis, they show us that being brave and never giving up is what makes a true hero. Their stories will inspire us for a long time to come.